Well, I suppose like with all young people, we're interested in the service about how young people think and learn and make progress. I think increasingly the role of the educational psychologist has been interested in young person well-being, thinking about the transition into adulthood. So ADHD for me is a very significant factor in all of that we would want to be exploring. But the key question for me is, what does ADHD mean for that one individual young person? As educational psychologists, I think we would always promote a sense of understanding who the individual child is, what all of those additional factors are that impact upon their day-to-day experience in school and in the wider community. So of course, training, advice, support for staff in school is one part, but also understanding a lot more about what that young person's experience is, kind of what their views are, what helps them learn. And I suppose what we need to be really clear about is that what works for one child with ADHD may well not work for another child with ADHD, and busting some of those myths, I suppose. So generally speaking, our role is coordinated through schools, typically SENCOs if they have one, or sometimes the inclusion manager, whatever the role is within the school. All of the schools in Richmond, most of the schools in Kingston have a relationship with us whereby we have a set portion of time that we go into the schools, and that time generally is prioritised by those people in the school. Sometimes we get involved in additional pieces of work by the local authority, so training, support, advice, but usually it is a direct relationship with schools, and some of that work is formal, so may take the kind of the effect of one-to-one assessment activity, attendance at annual reviews, contributions towards education, health and care plans, but sometimes it might be more informal. So we might be discussing groups of children without necessarily talking about specific names, so we can be thinking more systemically, I suppose. The role of the educational psychologist in the EHCP process is a statutory one, so there would always be an educational psychologist view contributing to the initial education, health and care plan. As an EP myself, of course, I'm going to talk very positively about the role that we have as being more than just statutory. It's there for a reason. Generally speaking, best practice would say that we're there at that pre-statutory level. We're there to support, advise schools, and actually in many respects we want to be moving away from a reliance upon those statutory or EHCP processes to ensure that all schools are set up to meet the needs of a range of learners, including those of course with ADHD and other neurodevelopmental and other learning difficulties as well. I suppose we've been used to for a long time thinking about children with ADHD as sometimes being, if you like, labelled alongside other children with other needs, but actually it's not about those general labels. It's understanding what that means for that individual child. So thinking about where the child might have some difficulties learning, why is that, what can we do about that, what can we look at in the setting, the environment, the triggers, consequences and so on and so forth, to inform our assessment that way.